Innocence sleeps with teddy bears, but that night Innocence never woke again. The Miller family lived in quiet suburbia. A modest home, trimmed lawn, children's bikes scattered across the driveway. To neighbors, they were the picture of normal American life. But behind those windows, darkness was waiting. On the evening of November 3rd, 2019, the Millers gathered in their cozy living room. Michael Miller, the father, read the newspaper. His wife, Dana, folded laundry by the couch. Upstairs, their 4 children, ages 5 to 12, played with Legos, their laughter echoing through the house. It was ordinary, safe, or so they thought. At exactly 9:42 p.m., the power went out. The house fell into blackness. Michael assumed it was a neighborhood outage, but outside, the streetlights still glowed. Only the Miller home was dark. Dana lit a candle. Michael headed toward the basement to check the circuit box. As he stepped down the creaking stairs, a sound stopped him. Footsteps, not his, not Dana's, someone else was in the house. He froze. "Who's there?" No answer. Then, a sharp crash upstairs. The children screamed. Michael bolted back up, but before he could reach them, a masked figure emerged from the hallway, in his hand, a hunting knife. And in that instant, the Miller family's world collapsed. The intruder lunged. Michael fought, struggling to wrestle the blade away. Dana rushed forward, screaming for her children to hide. The candlelight flickered against the walls as chaos unfolded in the shadows. Upstairs, 12-year-old Emily grabbed her younger siblings, pushing them into a closet. She whispered, "Stay quiet. Don't move." Her hands shook, but she tried to be brave. She thought maybe, just maybe, they'd be safe. But she was wrong. The masked intruder broke free from Michael's grip. The knife slashed through the air. Michael collapsed, bleeding on the floor. Dana's screams echoed through the neighborhood, but no one came. And in the silence that followed, the footsteps turned toward the children's room. Police would later describe the crime scene as one of the most brutal they had ever witnessed. All 4 Miller children were found in their upstairs bedroom. Their lives cut short before they even began. Michael and Dana lay downstairs, both fatally wounded. In just under 15 minutes, an entire family was annihilated. But here's the chilling twist. Nothing was stolen, no valuables touched. The killer didn't come for money, he came for blood. The investigation stunned the quiet Ohio community. Why the Millers? Why the children? Detectives struggled to understand the motive. Neighbors had seen nothing. The street was calm, the only clue, muddy boot prints leading from the woods, straight into the Miller home. DNA swabs were rushed to the lab, and when the results came back, the town was shaken to its core, because the DNA didn't match a stranger. It matched someone the Millers knew, a family friend, someone they had trusted. That man was Christopher Hale, 38 years old, a former neighbor. He had attended birthday parties, shared dinners, played with the children in that very yard. And yet, he was the one police now accused of slaughtering them. But the horror didn't end there. When investigators dug deeper into Hale's past, they uncovered something disturbing: a history of violent outbursts, obsession with Dana Miller, and a chilling diary where he wrote, "If I can't have her, no one will. Her family will burn with her." Detectives believed Hale cut the Millers' power deliberately, waited in the basement until the right moment, then unleashed his fury on the entire family. As the trial approached, gruesome details emerged: the children's final moments, Dana's desperate attempt to protect them, Michael's hopeless fight against a man consumed by obsession. The courtroom was packed every day, the community desperate for answers, desperate for justice. But Hale never confessed. He sat silent, cold, unmoved by the photographs, unmoved by the tears. When prosecutors showed the jury images of the Miller home, balloons still taped to the fridge from Emily's birthday the week before, Hale looked away, expressionless. The jury took less than 5 hours to decide guilty. Christopher Hale was sentenced to death, but no sentence could bring back what he had taken. The Miller tragedy leaves us with one unbearable question. How could a man so close to the family, a man they trusted with their children, become their executioner? What do we really know about the people who walk into our homes? And how do you protect your family when the danger doesn't come from outside, but from within your own circle? But this story isn't finished. Because after the trial, investigators discovered something else in Christopher Hale's diaries, something that suggested the Millers weren't his only targets. That night might not have been the end. It might only have been the beginning. They thought the nightmare ended with the Miller family. They thought Christopher Hale's arrest brought closure, but the truth was darker. Because buried inside his journals, investigators found a trail of obsession, rage, and death stretching back years. Detectives flipped through the pages, their hands trembling. Dozens of entries, some rambling, some chillingly precise. One line stood out: the Millers were not the first, and they will not be the last. The first clue came from a name scrawled in the margins: Claire. 2008. She laughed at me. Who was Claire? Investigators dug into old police files, and what they found stunned them. Claire Thompson, a 24-year-old graduate student, found dead in her off-campus apartment in 2008, stabbed multiple times. No forced entry, no suspect ever charged. The case went cold until now. Hale had lived only 3 blocks from Claire's apartment at the time of her death. Neighbors recalled he was infatuated with her. She rejected him. And months later, she was gone. The parallels to Dana Miller were undeniable. Obsession, rejection, murder. But that wasn't all. Another name surfaced. Daniel, 2012. He mocked me. Daniel Reyes, a co-worker at Hale's construction job, disappeared after a late shift. His body was never found. The case was closed as a runaway. Now, detectives weren't so sure. Piece by piece, a horrifying pattern emerged. Christopher Hale wasn't just the man who destroyed the Miller family. He was a predator, a killer who had been hiding in plain sight for more than a decade. Detectives reopened Claire's file. They re-examined Daniel's disappearance. And then, another bombshell. A missing persons report from 2015. A single mother named Rachel Cooper, last seen leaving her apartment complex. Her landlord remembered one detail. She complained about a neighbor. A man who stared through her window. His name? Christopher Hale. The evidence was circumstantial. But the journal entries, the timelines, the obsession, it all pointed in one chilling direction. The Miller massacre wasn't the beginning. It was the climax of a killing spree, years in the making. Prosecutors faced a problem. Hale was already sentenced to death, but the families of Claire, Daniel, and Rachel demanded answers. Was he responsible for their loved ones too? Or was the journal the ramblings of a madman? Hale remained silent. In prison, he refused interviews, refused to explain. The only words he ever spoke to investigators were these: "You'll never prove it, and there are more than you think." the community was torn apart once again. Parents who once feared a random home invasion now feared something worse: that Hale had been hunting, targeting, and killing for over 10 years. That their neighbors, their friends, their co-workers could be among the unknown dead. And then, one final discovery. Inside Hale's storage unit, detectives found a locked trunk. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Women, men, children. Some identified, many not. Some were alive. Some had been missing for years. The photographs raised more questions than answers. How many victims were there really? How many families never even knew who took their loved ones? And why did Hale keep these trophies hidden but preserved, as if waiting for someone to find them? As investigators combed through the evidence, one picture in particular stood out. A family, smiling in their backyard. 2 parents, 3 children, and standing just a few feet behind them, Christopher Hale. Who were they? Were they still alive? Or were they next on Hale's list before he was finally caught? The answer could unlock the full scale of his reign of terror. But it might also reveal something investigators weren't prepared to face. And so, the question remains, was the Miller family tragedy just the surface of something much darker? Or is Christopher Hale hiding secrets that will change everything we think we know about him? Comment below. If you like the way we create these videos and you want to help bring more cases like this to light, then hit that like button and subscribe for more dark crime videos. Thank you once again for watching.